All right, so today we're going to be taking verbal phrases and turning them into either the expression or the equation. So something that you have to understand is that an expression doesn't have an equal sign. It is basically numbers and variables and operation signs put together. An equation has an equal sign and can have an answer. So for this very first part, all of these are algebraic expressions, meaning we're going to be using variables and numbers and our symbols without an equal sign. So this very first one says 3 less than 4 times a number. This one is a little bit tricky because of the word less than. Less than means that we need to subtract, but in order to say 3 less than something, I have to know what I have before I can take away that 3, which is this, 4 times a number. When it says a number, we get to choose the variable we want to use. Because remember, a variable represents an unknown number. So here, I'm going to say 4x minus 3. And this shows 4 less than, this shows 4 times minus 3, or 4x minus 3, so 3 less than 4 times a number. So that's the only tricky one, less than, fewer than, anything with subtraction, the order matters. This next one says 7 decreased by 3 times a number. Again, with the a number, they're going to let us choose the variable we want to use. So 7 decrease meaning subtraction, 7 minus 3 times the number, let's use n. There it is. Bigger. This next one says 8 more than twice y. Twice is a special word, and that just means times 2. But then you have this more than. More than is kind of the same as less than or fewer than. But when we talk about adding, the order doesn't really matter because of the commutative property. So I could say this as 8 plus 2y, or I could say this as 2y plus 8. The order doesn't matter here. It's talking about the same information or the same number. So the proper way of writing it is the 2y plus 8, but understand that the commutative property allows me to switch those things when it comes to adding or multiplication. For this next one, it gets to be just a little bit tricky because it is saying half. Half is another special word for dividing by 2, and it says half the difference. This is what I want half of. And what is difference made up of? It's x and 3. So I'm going to have x minus 3 as my difference, and I want half of that. So I'm going to divide everything in there by 2. For this next one, it says 5 plus the quotient of a number and 12. Quotient meaning to divide. Oopsie daisy. That got a little bit, there you go. Quotient meaning to divide. So 5 plus, whenever you see quotient, whatever they gave you first, that is goes on top. That's your numerator. So let's use C and 12. So that is in my denominator. So 5 plus C over 12. This next one is 3 times a number increased by 9. So 3 times a number, let's use x, increased meaning add, 9. That one is. So for the next ones, we're going to be talking about equations. So we're going to be given it in word form, and we have to write the equation, and in the directions, it's asking for us to solve it. I'm going to leave that up to you. So let's go ahead and write our equations here. Quotient meaning that we are going to divide. A number, again, we get to choose the variable we want to use. We can't just choose any number we want because we don't know what number is going to make this equation work. These are all conditional equations, by the way. So quotient of a number, so I'm going to use, what do you think, W? W over 15 is one of the words that we can use to represent equals. So equals 4. And then we can solve it from there. So you should have W equals, you know how to solve that, so go ahead and solve it. For this next one, it says the product of 6 and a number. Product meaning to multiply, and a number meaning we get to choose our variables. So 6 m equals 30. A little bit bigger. There you go. Oh, yay. We have our less than again. So 18 less than y is 40. Again, I have to know what y is first before I can take away the 18. So this should look like this. Y minus 18 equals 40. Know what you have first before you can take away the 18 and solve it and tell me what y is. Over here on this next one, we're talking about twice the sum of a number and 4 is 10. So twice is another word that multiplied by 2. And what do we want twice of? We want twice of the sum. So this is what I need to make double or multiplied by 2. But the sum is made up of a number and 4. So in order for me to be able to take twice of the sum, I'm going to actually have to use parentheses here. So twice, and then the sum, which was x plus 4, and that equals 10. There you go. And use your solving equation skills and find me a variable or find me the value of x. Down here it says when a number is multiplied by 4 and the result is decreased by 6, the final result is 10. This one has it a little bit tricky because it says the result is and the final result. This down here, the final result, that is actually representing your equal sign. So for this equation, I can say a number multiplied by 4, so 4x is decreased by 6, so minus 6 equals 10. So that extra, the result, is just saying that you need to do the 4x first, then subtract the 6, and you're going to get 10. Again, using your equation skills, solve and find me value for x. For this next one, it says the product of a number and 4 is 6 more than 3 times the number. So I notice right away that I have is in here. So I know that this is going to be an equation with variables on both sides. So it says the product of a number and 4. We get to choose our numbers, so let's do 4g is meaning equals 6 more than 3 times the number. When they're referring to the number, they're referring to the number that you used before. So we use g, so we're going to say 3g plus 6. But we know from the commutative property that we could have also said 6 plus 3g. So there you have it. Solve and find the value for g. And once you are done filling out all of these notes, you can take them up to the sub and show them that you have filled out everything on the notes, and you can get your worksheet to work on. Have a great day.